Hey, Mike Healy here. How the heck are you? Hopefully you're doing great. I'm going to do a quick Facebook Live because someone asked me a question on how to kind of close those prospects. They call it the chicken list, how to get those people introduced. So I just want to double check that I'm on here real quick, and looks like I'm good to go. And it's even doing the what do you call it, transcribing. So anyhow, hey, I didn't make any kind of notification to let anybody know that I'm doing this. I'll probably have this recorded. I'll probably put it on my YouTube channel, leave it obviously on Facebook, might even put it on Rumble and some other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you just kind of real quick about a technique that we've used for years in the direct selling industry, network marketing industry, MLM, what do you whatever call it, to get those chicken list people. All right, chicken list is basically the statement that came out many years ago about, the people that you'd really like to have in your business because first and foremost, they have credibility and influence. Because most people, a lot of times when people join these types of businesses, a networking business, they are either fairly new or they haven't really made any big money, so that they don't really warrant, being able to tap into or having a lot of influence with people that they can get them to join their businesses much quicker. All right. However, if you got somebody like a celebrity or somebody in your community that has a lot of credibility and influence, it's much easier for them to just say, hey, I'm doing something, you need to do it. Okay. So the point of this is very simply this, is there's a strategy called the silent partner. Okay. The silent partners, take notes on this one. I don't have a PowerPoint or any, so we're just going face to face on this one. But the silent partner strategy is very simple. You have to kind of tweak it. You have to kind of gear it or, put it towards the person you're talking to. But in essence, what the silent partner means is that most people that have the credibility and influence that you would like to get in your business do not necessarily have the time to work a business like this that would really grow it to the point that, would get anything big for them or for you. Okay. So what you have to do is this. You have to make a contact with that person and you ask them a few simple questions. Okay. Question number one is, and I'm going to use Rick. I'm going to say, I got a friend named Rick who I know has credibility and influence in my community. He and I, I've known who he is. I know that there's lots of people that respect him in the community, that kind of thing. And I know that if I could get Rick to basically endorse what I'm doing and introduce people to it, obviously they would at least take a look, right? So what I do is I would approach Rick, so call Rick up, okay? And I'd say something like this, say, hey, Rick, this is Mike Healy. Listen, I know you're busy. I'm not going to take up a lot of your time, but do you have a couple minutes? I want to propose a business idea past you, okay? So what you do is, and most of the time they will say something like, well, whatever, or schedule something with me. And it shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes to explain this. Really what you need to do is basically say, here's the thing, Rick. And if Rick says yes, I would do something like this. Rick, listen, I just came across the business. We're marketing XYZ, and I thought of you. Now, here's the thing, is I obviously know you do not have time to go out and do this business like I would do it. But what I'm willing to do is go to work for you on your behalf so that you can basically, allows me to tap into your network of people. It's the same thing with like LinkedIn online, right? I mean, in a nutshell, but this is kind of an old school technique, but a lot of people kind of don't understand how to use it or how to do it. And I've done it successfully. I've used this technique in the past. So anyhow, let me get back to it and I'll give you the example of what I did in the past. So Rick might say, okay, well, what is it? I say, well, Rick, I'm going to just send you a short video. So here's the point, is what you're doing is you are using a strategy to get your foot in the door to create some type of interest in a potential business. Because if Rick's already a business owner, respected in the community, he's smart enough to understand leverage, time, money, investments, that kind of thing, multiplication, growth, whatever. But if you don't position yourself correctly in this, you can kind of blow it with these type of people. So what you do is you basically introduce it to them in a very non worky kind of way, confrontational, that kind of thing. and just say, I want to basically go to work for you, because who wouldn't want that, right? And they get the money. And you can even say something like, I believe that if with your endorsement on what we're doing, I think that we can probably get you XYZ income. Okay. Because this is just you having a private conversation. This isn't a guarantee. This isn't you saying, hey, if you join this company, you're going to make this kind of money. But it's you kind of putting it out there to just get their attention. And then Rick might say, okay, well, what is it? And you would say something very similar like this. You would say, well, Rick, I'm just going to send you a short video of the product or of the service or of the company, that kind of thing. And then what would happen is Rick, then you just follow up with him. And if Rick sees what you're doing and it makes sense, then all you have to do is say, Rick, here's all I need you to do. I just need you to either call, text, send an email or whatever to maybe 10 quality people that I can do this exact same strategy with that you're doing. Okay, so there's the kind of the introduction, because you always want to work through somebody to get to their people, and you work through their people to get to their people. That's how it kind of works. And so Rick might automatically say, well, I can think of 10 people that I know have either approached me in this type of business before, or they're go-getters or whatever, or maybe they've lost a business and so on. Because the reason is that with their credibility and influence, it will get them to look at it. Now, how does that work? So if Rick says, yeah, it looks good, I'd be happy to introduce you to my friends. All right. Basically, all Rick has to do is make a quick call, make a quick text, make a quick email, whatever, that says, hey, this is Rick. Listen, I've got a friend of mine who contacted me about a business model that I wanted you to take a look at. Right? Because of Rick's credibility and influence, he will get the email opened. He will get the text responded. He will get the phone call answered. Right? And then what he's doing is he's not having to do the work. He's basically putting on you. And what makes this cool is Rick's endorsement already positions you with credibility and influence, even if you don't have any. Okay. So let me give you the exact story of this. I had, I was in a company that I made great money, like 7-figure earning kind of money. Right. But when I started, I didn't know, a lot of people. I didn't have any credibility, I didn't have any business background, that kind of thing. And I was working as a personal trainer, and my boss, who was pretty much the same age as me, we were, obviously this was 15 years ago, so I was a little younger. He had some clients that had huge credibility. So what I told him was, I said, hey, if you can just introduce me to these people, because you already have a credibility and influence with these clients, because he was a personal trainer, I'll talk to them on your behalf. And if they decide to do something, you'll obviously make money off of it. Well, he introduced me to a guy that had massive credibility and influence. And this guy, this guy lived in a $5.5 million home, right? I was not even close to that. But I positioned it as, hey, I want to go to work for you so that, that you'll reap the rewards of this business. Here's the, the benefits of the business. Here's the benefit of the product or service, whatever. And by doing that, the guy got in, and guess what he did? He ended up using his credibility and influence to introduce me to those people, to have the exact same conversation of, I don't want you to go to work. I want you to just introduce me to people. See, a lot of people chicken out, per se, as I'm starting this, with their chicken list, or doing the business to begin with and going after the heavy hitters, we would call them, because they don't know how to position themselves as an expert, which you don't have to be an expert. You just have to show the willingness to go to work with somebody and put it on their behalf that you're going to do all the heavy lifting, but they're going to cash the checks. Who wouldn't want that, right? If you're going to work for free for them, that kind of thing. And I learned this, believe it or not, 23 years ago by a guy that was doing this on a regular basis in a company, the very first company I ever did. And he taught it. He said it was the silent partner strategy. And he basically went through exactly what I just said to you, that all you do is you introduce something to somebody and say, hey, Rick, Gene, Lisa, Tom, whatever, whoever's got credibility and influence, say, listen, I know you're too busy to do any type of business like I'm about to introduce you to or ask you to take a look at, but I'm willing to go to work for you for free, right? Because that's how networking works, is if somebody gets something and somebody and so on. All I need you to do is just take a look at it. If it looks good, great. If not, no big deal. But if you introduce me to a handful of people, if I do all the work, you will make the money. And it gets business people, it gets their attention. They understand this concept. Okay, they understand it. Like I said at the very beginning of this video, they understand leverage. They understand residual income. They understand it. I mean, you should use those terms too. Hey, Rick, what if I could show you a way that I go to work for you and create you a residual income? Would you at least give me 2 minutes of your time to just tell you what I'm proposing? And if you do that, who's not going to say yes to it? Business owners, the reason they're successful is they hear multiple things. In most cases, they listen to things and then they make their decisions. It may or may not be for them. But if you think about it, if you contacted maybe 10 people on your chicken list, it only takes one person with some pretty decent credibility to launch something significant. They might just know 4 or 5 people that have been doing networking before that have introduced them, and they're thinking, hey, with my credibility influence, this is a new product, a new category, a new service, whatever. If I have them talk to them, me talk to them for them, it will build that residual. So anyhow, I don't want to take too long on here. Like I said, I didn't plan this out. Somebody asked me the question about talking to some people, and I just was rattling it off on the phone, and he wanted to hear it again. And I said, you know what? That's a great training that I could probably do. I'll put it on my Facebook, my YouTube, all the video channels, the Rumble, BitChute, as well as my podcast. So I have a podcast called the MLM Mastermind that I throw some stuff up there pretty regularly. And you're welcome to go on there. It's on iTunes, Spotify, that kind of thing. So anyhow, hopefully you got something out of that tip. Go apply it. Go give it a shot and just watch what happens. And you'll also find that your confidence will go up when you start to use that kind of language with people, and you're communicating with those people that think bigger, because a lot of times too, they may even give you some suggestions or some tips, because that's kind of, just a lot of entrepreneurs do some really cool things to help people anyhow. So anyhow, see you on the videos, other ones that I do. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have a great one.